Hello my dear friends, you're in the middle of a summary channel, and this video we're going to discuss the most important events that took place during the previous 12 hours. We have lots of very interesting updates, so let's start. And first let's talk about the conflict on the territory of Ukraine, where yesterday in the evening the president of Ukraine Zelensky stated that the armed forces of Ukraine improved their positions significantly, and the president of Ukraine Zelensky was talking about the northern Zaporizhzhia direction, and as you can see the map has been adjusted significantly through this area. Let's compare the map between the dates and then we will discuss everything in detail. So this is the situation by the end of the 12th of August of 2026. Since the beginning of July of 2026, we have received lots of updates confirming that the armed forces of Ukraine were recorded, soldiers units of the armed forces of Ukraine were recorded through the villages of Novorossiysk, Tovste and Podubne. And yesterday in the evening there was a report, and then based on the report we have adjusted the map because we have proofs. First of all, we have changes that were provided by pro-Russian sources. As you can see, very reliable pro-Russian sources adjusted their map as well. Here we have significant progress on the ground from the Ukrainian side, and also during the same period of time pro-Ukrainian sources published this video where we can see how exactly the clashes for these territories were taking place, and here we can see lots of flags raised by the armed forces of Ukraine. So we have, of course, lots of questions about the situation. Before we start, one thing is clear, that this is not an AI video, but there are lots of mistakes and probably issues through this video. For example, let's take a look at this episode. Here we see not summer, not even a spring. Here we can see a winter. So we need to understand that the video with flags that was published by pro-Ukrainian sources, that was published by Zelensky himself, is a video where we can see lots of flags raised by the armed forces of Ukraine probably between November of 2025 and the first part of July of 2026. So this is the first important thing. The second important thing is that this morning lots of pro-Ukrainian sources reported that the changes that were provided by pro-Ukrainian sources probably have been changed, because once again the situation with this video and the situation with the pro-Russian sources is the situation somewhere around 10th, 15th of July of 2026. So the flags that were raised, that were published during this video, were raised by Ukrainians before August, even before 20th of August of 2026, and the pro-Ukrainian sources reported that during this period of time the Russians, between let's say 15th of July and the 12th of August of 2026, the Russians managed to recapture some territories, and pro-Ukrainian sources reported that at some directions around these pockets the Ukrainians also managed to improve their positions. The question is why the Ukrainians published these updates so late. What were they waiting for? And the thing is that several days ago Zelensky announced that his 40 days special operation ended to force the Russians to accept Ukraine's demands and to accept Ukraine's proposal, Ukraine's approach of the peaceful settlement of the conflict between Russia and Ukraine. The Russians rejected that idea, and Zelensky and the armed forces of Ukraine started the next operation that has the same purposes, to force the Russians to accept Ukraine's demands. And this situation with through the northern Zaporizhzhia direction is a part of this operation, and this is going to be more like a media operation rather than real operation on the ground, because once again this operation through the northern Zaporizhzhia direction ended almost a month ago, and just today this information was revealed by Ukrainian sources. And this is not the only episode of this new operation started by the Ukrainian side. If you remember, this operation basically started a few days ago, and one of the biggest episodes of this operation took place yesterday when the Ukrainians attacked the city of Novorossiysk using hundreds of drones. We have already discussed the situation yesterday. You remember this video, all these videos where you could see how the Russians using air defense, a significant number of air air defense systems and forces were trying to bring down Ukraine's drones that were attacking the city of Novorossiysk. And telling the truth, that attack was repelled by Russians. The Ukrainians, during the previous 24 hours, published lots of pictures, lots of analysis on this matter, trying to convince that as a result of that overnight attack, the Ukrainians managed to deal significant damage, but this is not true. The Ukrainians haven't managed to deal significant damage to the city of Novorossiysk. There were reports that several vessels or several military ships were damaged. There were reports that some kind of infrastructure was damaged, but this is not all these attacks, all these damages aren't critical. This is the first thing. And this is basically the first step of this operation. The second step of this operation is the announcement by the President of Ukraine, Zelensky, about significant progress on the ground through the Zaporizhzhia direction. And today, this morning, we received another report on this matter. According to information we have, there was an assassination attempt through the city of Sevastopol, and as a result of attack, Russian general, a Russian officer probably was killed or was injured as a result of explosion. So, and from the other side, this is something like a pattern from the Ukrainian side. Before the beginning of something big, we always see updates like this: assassination attempts, massive attacks, explosions, and so on, which means that the reports that we received during the previous 48 hours about the city of Novorossiysk, about Zaporizhzhia, about this assassination attempt, is probably just the beginning of something bigger. Another important thing worth attention, that in coming days we will receive more updates from the Ukrainian side, and it seems, and most likely within the next 48, 72 or 100 hours, we will receive a report from the Ukrainian sources about the situation through the northern Lyman direction. Because as we discussed many times during the previous videos, the Ukrainians currently counterattack through two directions. The first one is the northern Zaporizhzhia, and we have already covered this situation. And the second counteroffensive operation from the Ukrainian side is taking place through the northern Lyman direction, or between the cities of Borova and Lyman. And we discussed this many times, and the most important thing, that if you remember, almost 2 or even 3 months ago, the chief of the general staff of the armed forces of the Russian Federation, Valery Gerasimov, stated that there were just 149 or 43 buildings left before the Russians were able to take the city of Lyman under complete control, and after this statement we haven't received anything. And the thing is that Ukrainians began their counter-offensive operation through the northern Lyman direction, and it seems that during this counter-offensive operation the Ukrainians managed to improve their position significantly. So that is why I believe that probably in coming days the map through the Lyman direction would be adjusted significantly, and most likely we'll see lots of videos published by pro-Ukrainian sources with flags through the settlements like Shandrigolova, Serednya, Zelena Dolina, Lipovo, Novo. So all these villages, probably many sources would color as territories under complete control of the armed forces of Ukraine. Basically, lots of military experts believe that this is exactly what we might see in coming hours and in coming days. And once again, this is also just the beginning of something bigger. Meanwhile, according to information we have, the armed forces of Ukraine struck deep inside of the territory of Russia using hundreds of drones, and yesterday in the evening we received the report that the Ukrainians used 440 drones to attack the territory of Russia. This morning the Minister of Defense of the Russian Federation confirmed, almost confirmed this number. The Russians stated that they managed to intercept and to destroy 362 drones. According to these map, the Ukrainians were attacking in different directions, but this morning we can say that this overnight attack was also repelled by Russians. The Ukrainians haven't managed to deal significant damage. This morning we received the video, probably just one video or several videos, just from one city, from the settlement by the name of Chimshy, which is located in the area of the city of Ufa, deep inside of the territory of Russia. And the distance between the territory of Ukraine and this settlement settlement is around 1,300 kilometers, and according to information we have, the Ukrainians attacked another warehouse deep inside of the territory of Russia, and here we can see a video where at least 3 drones of the armored forces of Ukraine attacked this facility. Probably this warehouse was badly damaged, but this is not the biggest warehouse through the territory of Russia. It's just 20 or 30,000 square kilometers, square meters, not a very big one, but probably this is the result of the overnight attack when the Ukrainians used 440 drones to attack the territory of Russia. Now let's move further and let's discuss attacks and changes on the ground from the Russian side. First of all, let's discuss the city of Kyiv. If you remember, yesterday we received the report that the Russians attacked the eastern parts of the Kyiv agglomeration using dozens of drones, jet-powered drones, and as a result of attack, a very heavy explosion took place, and we were talking that one of these facilities was damaged by the armed forces of the Russian Federation. Yesterday we started receiving first videos and pictures on this matter, and this morning we received additional clarification that indeed the Russians attacked not this warehouse but this warehouse. And for example, we have fresh satellite pictures where we can see the changes. For example, this is the situation by the end of the 7th of August, and here we can see that just the southern facility was reduced to ruins, and through the fresh video of the 30th of August we can see that the northern warehouse was also destroyed by the armored forces of the Russian Federation. This means that most likely the Russians would continue attacking the eastern Brovary direction with the purpose to destroy every single facility through this territory. As you can see, there are still a lot of warehouses, and the Russians most likely are tasked to destroy this logistic hub. Furthermore, during the previous 12 hours, the Russians were attacking the Odesa region. The Russians, for these purposes, were using jet-powered drones, and the Russians were attacking. The Russians used dozens of drones, and the most important thing that the first batch of drones changed direction in the northern area, and the second batch of drones continued moving further in the southwestern direction and attacked the port infrastructure of the southwestern parts of the Odesa region. This morning, a fire anomaly was recorded through the city of Izmail. Some facilities were damaged and destroyed through this territory. Furthermore, the Russians, using drones, attacked a gas station on the territory of the settlement of Kyiv. So this gas station was destroyed, and the fuel crisis, as we can see, continue intensifying through the territory of Ukraine. Furthermore, the Russians attacked locomotives that were going or that were leaving the Odesa region. One of the locomotives was destroyed along railways between the cities of Odesa and Dnipro. So this is the locomotive that was attacked and destroyed by the armed forces of the Russian Federation. And another locomotive was destroyed somewhere around the settlement of Razdolna between the cities of Odesa and the western parts of Ukraine. So as you can see, the Russians continue blockade of the entire Odesa region, trying to destroy logistics, fuel bases, gas stations, port infrastructure, and so on. Now let's move further and let's discuss the situation through the Kramatorsk direction. We have a lot of very important updates. If you remember, just yesterday we discussed, yesterday in the evening, that the Russians, as a result of clashes, established complete control over the settlement of Petrivka. And these are the changes on the ground between the 11th and the 8th and the 12th of August of 2026. But this morning and yesterday in the evening, we received additional reports on this matter, and we received this video where we can see how the clashes for the settlement of Petrivka were taking place, and in this video we can see at least 2 episodes how Russians raised their flag. So this morning the Minister of Defense, by the way, also confirmed Russian control over the territory, and these are the changes on the ground between 11th and the beginning of the 30th of August of 2026. The Russians managed to get as close as possible to the Druzhkivka agglomeration. Now the clashes for the settlement of Raiske begin. If Russians take the settlement of Raiske under complete control, this is going to be the beginning of the battle for Druzhkivka from the southwest itself. Furthermore, the Russians continue improving their positions through the southeastern flank between the cities of Alexeyevka, Druzhkivka, and Nikolaipolye. The Russians are moving through fields, trying to shorten the distance to the city of Druzhkivka itself as well. Meanwhile, the Russians continue attacking, bombing with bombs the city of Druzhkivka itself, trying to soften the defense of the armored forces of Ukraine. At the same time, the Russians continue developing their offensive operation to the east of the cities of Kramatorsk and Druzhkivka, and these are the changes on the ground. According to different sources, the Russians improved their position significantly through the village of Fedorovka by taking under complete control additional strongholds. So the Russians accelerate their Druzhkivka-Slaviansk offensive operation, and in coming days we might see additional changes on the ground. But from the other side, once again, I would like to point attention, these days will receive significant media pressure from the Ukrainian side as well. As for the northern directions, during the previous 12 hours, we haven't received anything special. Probably the most important thing is that this morning the group of forces north confirmed that currently there are very heavy clashes for the villages of Kudiivka and Hoptivka, and these villages may fall in Russia's hands also in coming days or even hours. And that's it for the short video. The military summary channel reminds to condemn any violence in the world. Thank you for your watching. Subscribe to my channel, put your likes to my Patreon, and have a good day. Bye bye.